Hey everybody, it is the Unknown Club, and I will be showing you how I make a mold of my latex masks for my Instagram Bad Jacks masks. I have two masks out already, and this is going to be the third. So yeah, I'm going to show you the materials that you'll need before you start ruining your sculpt. So yeah, the first thing that you'll need is wet clay. WED. Wet clay. This stuff is a little soft because it dried out and I had to resoften it. So yeah, it'll be a little sticky for me. Secondly, you'll need a pair of gloves, some mixing cups, and some plaster. Maybe a hammer too. So yeah, I'll be right back and I'll show you how to make the mold. First step is obviously putting your gloves on. So I'll do that. Okay, so now that I got my gloves on, we can start working with the wet clay. This stuff is a little sticky, as I said in the beginning of the video. It's too wet, so I'm gonna have a little trouble making the wall that I'm going to put around my sculpt. So this is what I'm doing. All you have to do is just put out a little small wall of clay and then smooth it onto the monster clay. When you take the monster clay out of the mold, this will be dry, the wet clay onto the monster clay. So you can just take that off while the monster clay is still warm. So let me finish that and then I will show you what to do next. Okay, so now that I'm done, I am going to get my tubs of water ready and I'll be again right back. Okay, so now I got 2 mixing cups of water. Now I'm doing this in the winter, and I'm using hot water just so the plaster will kick in a little faster. Now I know some people like to use their hands and like grab the plaster and put it into the water, but me, I like to use a ladle, and it just helps me get the plaster. So what I'm going to do, just get ladlefuls of plaster and I'll be right back. So now that the plaster is mixed up, I will be using this sponge brush and just dabbing the plaster onto the sculpt. So it's the right smoothness to just put onto the clay. So yeah. I'll do that and I'll be right back. So right now it just has the detail coat on, and when that is good to go, I will go back to the molding. So now that I put the first layer of plaster on it, I let it dry overnight, and now I'm going to put a second layer of plaster over the first layer. Then I will take that burlap over there and I will put the burlap with the plaster onto this. So in the next step, I'll be doing that. So right now, all I am doing is just mixing up the plaster. So it is a troweling consistency, and I can just take that plaster from the spoon and just smoothing out the plaster with my fingers, with the gloves. You can do it without the gloves. That's what Ed from Distortions does from YouTube, like his Monster Lab series, which I will put a link in the description for that if you guys want to watch that and see how he does it. But again, all I'm doing is just smoothing out the plaster and just making sure that the wall or the plaster, the mold, will be thick enough so where I take the clay, the monster clay, out of the mold and the mold does not break. So I'll be right back when I'm done with that. So now that the plaster and burlap is now on, we just wait for it to kick in and dry, and hopefully the mold will turn out well. So stay tuned for part 2 of making a mask, and yeah, I hope you enjoy. See ya.